everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So more work on wing feathers of the peacock next to the peahen's body. And this area has been quite confetti heavy, so it has slowed me down a fair bit. Yeah, I was hoping to be a little bit further. I have one more session before the end of the month, so we'll see. I was hoping to get to 195,000 total. I'm at 193, so possible. But I'm pretty sure I will hit 63%, as I'm only 0.1% off of that goal for the moment. So yeah, so just again, I'm still working from the bottom up for the moment because it's mostly forming stripes that way. But yeah, there was a lot of little bits of green and blue scattered around in this area, so it has been, yeah, like I said, quite confetti heavy and slowed things down a fair bit. Yeah, the threads were definitely a big old mess. So I sat there and I tidied them before I started filming, but I'm sure they'll probably be a big old mess by the end, but it works for me. Yeah, like I say, there's only been maybe 2 or 3 times that my threads were so tangled that I had to cut anything. But yeah, most of the time it does come apart. So yeah, there's not as many colors in this area, but they're very sort of interwoven with each other, so there's been a fair bit of stopping and starting here the last bit. I certainly have not been bored. That is for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like I often say, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with the confetti. It can be such a pain to stitch, but once you're done and you can step back and see all those details, then yeah, you'll say it was worth it. Yeah, so both my husband and son are home today. Kiddo has the week off school, so my husband took some time off as well because he had a lot of time built up. So let's take a look at where everything is. Ooh, oh my. Ugh, pardon me. I actually had a decent sleep last night, but yeah, like I said, we were fighting a bad virus for quite a while, and I think I'm not 100% yet. Yeah, I slept for like 10 hours last night, but I really needed it. I fell asleep without even reading first, which for me almost never happens. Yeah. Usually I have to read for at least an hour before I am ready to actually sleep. Yeah, I often say I used to read so much more. I don't really read much except before I sleep. But if I skip it, it's like my brain doesn't get the message that it's time to rest now. So, yeah, a lot of times I think, oh, I don't need to. And then, yeah, it's like, nope, sucker. You did. Oh. Okay, just like I said, as you can see, lots of sort of skipping around here. I'm going to try to keep from closing anything in on all 4 sides as my usual method. So I try to make sure any stitches I do are connected to stitches that are already there on at least one side. I find that just helps cut down on the number of mistakes I make. Yeah, when I start leaving gaps and counting, that's when I start putting things in the wrong spot. So yeah, as you can see, my lines are not perfectly straight, but that's okay. I am not concerned with that. Yeah, so we are hopefully seeing the last day of the cold snap. It has been cold, with some extreme cold warnings. Brr. Yeah, I'm running low on a few things because I am trying to wait until it warms up a bit before I go to the store. Yeah. I mean, I have shopped for groceries when it was -40, but yeah, I prefer not to if I have if I have the option. And since kiddo doesn't have school this week, I didn't need as many things for, you know, his lunch. I always have to buy some fresh stuff because he likes to eat broccoli and dip and bananas, and he likes hummus. Yeah, which I was surprised, but yeah, somebody was trying and he asked to try some and he really liked it. The red pepper hummus, yeah, just loved it. So that's been a staple of his lunch kit since then. And yeah, yogurt and things like that. So yeah, like say bread I can keep in the freezer and stuff, but yeah, some of his lunch stuff cannot. And he likes his bananas green, so yeah, I usually go shopping on Sunday and we get them then so that they're as green as possible. Yeah, I had to change which store I bought his broccoli at because I'm lazy and I buy it like pre-cut, and for some reason the Superstore brand, they must have changed suppliers or something, or the broccoli stinks. Like, it's not bad, but you open the bag, you can smell it across the house. It's so strong. Yeah. And I thought it was just a fluke. And I bought it the next week, and it was okay that week. And then I bought it the week after, and again, same thing. It just stunk up the whole house. It was so strong. So I just went, okay, I'm not buying that anymore. So. All right. Yeah, so the whole main flow kind of goes that way, but within it, some of them kind of go in the opposite direction. So like I said, sometimes that means more stopping and starting. Or sometimes what I will do is I will sort of start one of the little sort of ribs and then just carry on from there. I've done it both ways, so yeah. You know, people will say, well, what should I do next? And it's like, well, you know, if they're trying to stitch with my method, it's like, well, whatever works for you, honestly. Like, one day I might decide to do it one way, and one day I might decide to do it the other way. I always say once it all is filled in, it's going to look the same. So. Yeah, so up closer to the top, we have a little bit of more bigger blocks of that burgundy color. But yeah, down lower here, it's been very confetti heavy. Yeah, so I won't hit 63 during this session because that would be over 300 stitches, and that's, I don't think I've ever done that many. Maybe when I was working on the peacock's chest, I'm not sure, but I probably cut off my filming earlier because I was probably getting, yeah, like tendinitis. I have to be careful to take breaks or yeah, I get very sore. Like I said, I pushed it once and I stitched like 1,000 stitches each day for 2 days. Then I couldn't stitch for like 3-4 days because my arms were burning. So yeah, it was not worth it. kind of sucked because there really wasn't much else I could do either. I couldn't play video games because same problem, repetitive motions. I couldn't knit because, yeah, so, yeah. Like I say, in the end, I didn't make more progress because I had to take days off to recover, so, yeah. I am not pushing myself like that anymore. Yeah, again, the detail here on the wing feather, I didn't realize there were so many little spots of the blue and green until I was actually stitching it. Yeah, on the mock-up it looked more sort of brown, but yeah, okay, so I'm thinking I'm gonna take a look at what I have already parked here. Yeah, that's not terribly long. Okay, so I'm gonna add another thread. Colors kind of branch off from each other like they are here. I tend to add more threads to deal with it, yeah. Okay, so again, stitching the stuff that is touching on one side. This is one I'm probably going to need another thread. Oh yeah, this isn't even very long, so it's probably going to run out before I even get to the dilemma of where should I park it. Yeah, there probably won't be enough left to park it anywhere, so yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I was saying I like to watch figure skating. I've said in previous videos, and yeah, watching the Four Continents Championships, I've noticed the Titanic theme song has become popular among skaters again. And I said, well, saying to my husband, I guess these youngsters aren't old enough to have lived through the 3-month reign of terror that song had over the radio when it came out. It was so overplayed. Yeah. Pardon me, I liked it at first, but yeah, they killed it. So like, yeah, to this day I hear it, it's like, oh, not that ruddy song again. Pardon me. It's funny, actually, I said there was an episode of Supernatural where I think it was, oh, I can't remember what character it was, but he changed history and made it so the Titanic never sank. And of course that changed a lot of, right, because a lot of people who didn't survive in the original timeline survived, and it changed, of course, the timeline anyway. And at one point Dean asks him, why did you unsink the ship? And he says, because I hated that movie. And he says, what movie? And the guy says, exactly. doesn't exist. You never heard of it, so yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they still study it in school. They did when I was in school. I went through quite a time of obsession with it. But yeah, like I've been saying, it's exciting to see in the figure skating world who the newcomers are to be potential medal contenders at the next Olympics, which is next year. Holy cow. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, I have been stitching from the bottom out, but I can see at some point it's probably going to convert to top down again. That's just sort of, yeah. Generally don't plan it, it just sort of happens. So yeah, I do use multiple needles, but I find in these really high confetti areas sometimes I will not bother to leave as many threaded because I find getting them out with the needle still on can sometimes sort of take me more time than it would to just rethread it, because I find I can rethread them pretty quickly these days. I have had a lot of practice. I especially with the short ones don't tend to leave those threaded because, yeah, they don't like to stay on. So yeah, find the needles I bought, they were just some cheap bulk ones off Amazon, but they have really nice long eyes, and so I find, yeah, it is fairly easy to rethread them. I kind of pinch the ends of the thread between my finger and thumb and kind of push the eye of the needle onto it rather than trying to push the thread through the needle, I find, yeah. And it generally works. So yeah, that was a short one, so I didn't see any point in leaving it threaded. So okay, so I'm going to take a look at the one that is up here, see if it is one I'm going to carry downwards. Yeah, but I may actually just grab a leftover piece for those two in the corner. Yeah, that works. Yeah, sometimes since I'm stitching some from the top and some from the bottom, the way they cross each other sometimes means either I have to do some floating ones or add another thread to avoid that. But yeah, makes it a good place to use up these little leftover bits. All right. Okay. This one, yeah, I remember, was only long enough to do one more stitch. I did that on purpose. Fluff stuck to my screen there. Trying to remove it, but also moving the screen around. It was funny. It's how I discovered once that my computer had a touch screen, which I totally didn't know. There was a bit of something on the screen, and so I went to wipe it off with my finger, and the cursor actually went and highlighted a bunch of stuff. I was like, oh, this is a touch screen? I'd had it for like a year and I didn't know. Oh. Yeah, the laptop computer. Oh, it's funny. I find I don't really use touchscreen for that kind of computer, though. I use the mouse, yeah. Use touchscreen more for, like, yeah, with a tablet or a phone, right? Since that's the only way you can control those. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when computer mice were a brand new technology. Yeah. And our school was doing a fundraiser to buy mice, and the teacher's like, what do you guys want mice for? For like the science lab? Because they were thinking of like the actual animal. Yeah. Yeah, we learned DOS commands, although I don't really remember them very much because I haven't had much call to use them. My husband still does because he has to do some IT work as part of his job, so yeah. He still has to know how to work things from the system menu, but yeah, I haven't done it in so long that I have forgotten. Okay. So yeah, I could go from the very top, but I'm probably going to just do some working down and then sort of add layers to it. There is a lot of this color, as you can see, and so yeah, I tend to kind of just split it where it makes sense to me, rather than stitching the whole area at once. So actually, the way this goes, I normally like to work in rows sort of horizontally, but I may actually work more vertically for a bit. Sometimes that just, again, makes more sense depending on how I'm trying to grow out the stitching from what's already there, so. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of do this one here. Yeah, so that chime you're hearing is my husband is in the garage, and whenever the door opens or closes, it does that, so. Yeah, for the security system. Actually, it was funny because of that once. The door had blown open in the wind, and I knew because I was at home and I heard the door chime, and I was thinking, nobody's home. That door shouldn't be opening. Somebody going in there, and I went and looked, and yeah, it was just waving around in the breeze. It was like, oh, okay, that's why. So I had to go and lock it, yeah. The latch doesn't always properly catch. I find especially when it's really cold, yeah, like, I guess everything contracts, and yeah. Well, because it's sort of made to fit when it's warmer weather, when things would expand, right? But then, yeah, when it gets really cold, it contracts enough that I find our back door especially has to be actually locked if you want it to stay shut, because it doesn't always stay latched, even if you properly do it. So finally a section where I get to do a bunch in a row. But yeah, as you can see, looking at the pattern, everything is, because of the way the peacock is standing and his feathers are across the piece. Yeah, that's how all the colors go. So if I get to 194 total, that'll be about 7,000 stitches done in the month rather than 8. 8 seems to kind of be my average, but yeah, obviously there are some months where I do a little less. Yeah, and I manage about 2,000 to 4,000 on other projects, so yeah, sometimes a bit more. So I would say on a good month I can manage about 15,000 in total across all my projects. A not so good month, more like 10 to 12, yeah. So, okay. Not sure how that thread got tangled around that magnet like that. And the needle got stuck underneath. Oh well. Okay, so yeah, I have a second thread that way. So yeah, one of these threads is going to travel down and one of them is going to travel sort of back up. That is why I chose to do two. I swear I can't find the proper end of the needle. It's like trying to plug in a USB. It's always the wrong way around. Twice, right? Ugh. Yeah, and then next month, March, will be figure skating world championships, so I'll lose some stitching time to that. After that, April and such will probably be pretty good months for getting stitches completed, I would think. Because yeah, then there won't be any figure skating until like October, so. Oh dear. So yeah, as I said, you could see my threads started neat. Now they're getting messy again. It's a short one. It may not stay. I'll leave the needle on it for now. Oops. That is no good. There we go. My fat thumb. Alright, so I'm gonna check. That one is short. Yes, so I'm gonna put, and I think that one, yeah, I'm not gonna bother pulling out of this sort of bunch there, because I would have to do a bunch to the left of it, and I just don't feel like doing that right now, so. Yeah, like I say, I kind of like to make a cutoff somewhere so that I don't have too many threads that are actively being worked at once. Keeps things a little less confusing. Okay, so just Just double checking I'm in the right place. How did that happen? My gosh. Okay. Looked like it almost tried to form a knot there. Goodness. There. So that was those ones there. Yeah. Park that right there. And switch. So yeah, like I said, the other thread goes this way. This thread will come down this way. Yeah, as I was saying, it was cold because you can hear my furnace is running quite a bit today. Yeah, I have not been able to go for walks outside for a while. It has been way too cold for that. So I do have an exercise machine, but yeah, I prefer to go for a walk when I can. I find it's just harder for me to stay motivated to get the same number of steps when I'm not actually going anywhere, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is too fuzzy. I find when you try to push the needle on, yeah, it kind of just folds up when it's too worn like that, so. Yeah, no pale colors for quite a while, so safe to pin stitch there. So yeah, I'd say we're halfway past We're well past the halfway point of this pass now, because that was about 275, which is, yeah, sort of right there. So yeah, like I said, I don't think I'll have it done end of March. It'll probably be sometime during April that this pass will be done, and there'll be 3 to go. Find I also don't leave things threaded if I know I'm not going to be stitching that color for a while. So I'm going to focus on this area working up before I continue working down some more. This thread is probably going to run out before I can complete these. So I'm going to cross as I go this time, because if it's long enough to do that last stitch there that's not highlighted, obviously I want the thread to be on that end of this run of stitches. So I usually do all the bottom legs and then come back and cross the top legs, but yeah, sometimes crossing as I go is what makes sense. Yeah, I think though, yeah, I think that'd be pushing it. So, well, sometimes that happens. Yeah, it's getting very, very close to the end there. Yeah, so as I said, this was fairly confetti heavy because, yeah, it's taken me a fair amount of time to get to 100. But yeah, again, you can see we're getting more these little highlights of green in amongst these oranges and tans and stuff, so that is why. Oh, I tell you. Ugh. When hair gets stitched in, it's very difficult to remove. It's very annoying. Do you have some tweezers around to help me pull those out? I had to do it more when I still had our guinea pig was still alive because, yeah, she was super fluffy, and so, yeah, she shed a lot of hair. Yeah, it's funny. Some guinea pigs are really sleek, but she was the floofy ones with lots of cowlicks. So, yeah, she tended to shed a lot of fur all over the place. Yeah, she lived a very long time. She was probably 9 years old. We don't know exactly because she was a rescue and we got her when we think she was around a year old. But we had her for another 8 years. So, yeah, they usually live about 4 to 6 years. So, yeah, she lived a very long life. So again, yeah, won't be stitching that color for a while. So yeah, I had about 8 needles there for a while, but as the colors have ended, yeah, it's now down to about 4. So okay, so this is actually a longer piece than I thought. That stitch is kind of further than I like to send the thread, so I'm going to tie it off and I'll restart later when I get to that stitch there. Yeah, I did say my rule of thumb for how far I carry is about 1 inch, but lately it's been more like 10 stitches. Pardon me. Yeah, because I find more than that and it uses more thread than stopping and restarting. Some people are very disciplined. I know someone who said if it's more than 3 stitches away, they end the thread and restart. But I'm like, yeah, I'm not that disciplined. Their back was very neat, though, I do have to say. Yeah. They sort of had so many little clipped bits that it kind of looked like a latch hook rug on the back, which was cool. Yeah, quite a lot of this color in this area. Yeah, it's still over 2,200 stitches of it to go on the whole piece, so. Nope, that is not the right spot yet. Have to be careful here. Yeah, there we go. I was looking and there were 3 in a row here and I knew that wasn't right. Plus the grid line, but yeah. Yeah, when it's quite a long slope with similar colors, I have to be very careful to make sure I'm actually stitching in the correct place. I could have technically done this one first before the one below it, but since the one strand was already attached, I just felt like working with it first. So reaching 63% should be no problem because I was at 62.90 and I'm now at 62.94 already, so yeah. We'll see if I reach 195,000. I'm thinking 194 is probably more feasible. But that means, barring some major unforeseen circumstances, I should reach 200,000 within March, which would be a nice milestone. So yeah, in another couple of months after that, I will have 100,000 stitches left, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I first started stitching, like 100,000 stitches would have seemed like the biggest project ever, and now it's, yeah, it's not even a third of it. Yeah, I was browsing on the Cross Stitch Studio and they have some huge ones on there. They're very beautiful, but yeah, there's a big one that's like 3 wolves and one of them is howling, but it's like 1,200 stitches by like, yeah. That is ginormous. Yeah, and I would have to work on something smaller than 18 count if I was going to do that because yeah, it's super big, so 18 is kind of my limit. So yeah, like I said, I kind of cut it off here with the red, and then I will come in and fill up top later. color it in yet. Oh yeah, 150, and I'm at 62.95, so I said around 300 stitches, and yeah, that was pretty much bang on to complete that 0.1%. Okay, so this is still within the same big square, so I will park this down below here. I won't be doing it for a while. And this burgundy is just about ready to run out. Okay. Don't forget this one here on my way back. So yeah, I think that's when I'm going to take a break for now. My arms are starting to complain, so time to give them a rest. So yeah, actually still made pretty good progress considering that was quite a confetti heavy area. Quite happy with that. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks everyone. Bye.